Good afternoon. I'm Chandan Raikar from Department of Media Studies, Reva University. Today, we are having our fifth session of our national level faculty development program on contemporary approaches in media. I request all the attendees to please switch off your cameras and keep your microphones on mute. Yes. However, you may unmute them during the question and answer session. Also, please note that it is mandatory for you to fill in the feedback form to get your e-certificates. The feedback form will be provided at the end of the session in the chat box and also in the WhatsApp group. Today's guest speaker is Amit Agrahari. Amit Agrahari has practiced data journalism for more than 2 years. He has published data stories on subjects ranging from agriculture to financial technology in last 2 years. Currently, he is the legislative assistant to Member of Parliament, fellow with PRS Legislative Research, a Delhi-based policy think tank. Sir, we welcome you today to deliver today's talk on data journalism, dissemination of information in digital age. So the session is all yours.
Thank you, Chandan. Thank you so much. Who is coordinating the PPTs?
So you have a PPT to share, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what you can do is if you're using a laptop, you can click the share button. I'll give you that access. Just a minute. I think you should have that access right now. You should be able to share the screen. So you have the share button. It's right next to the microphone button. So you'll be able to share a particular window or your entire desktop screen. You'll be able to share the PPT.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah, yes. Is my screen visible to everyone?
No, sir. Not yet. Not yet. Have you clicked on? You have to click on that open share tray, and then you have to select which one you want to share, like a particular window or if it's a screen. So once you click on that, then only you'll be able to see your screen.
So actually, I have shared these PPTs with your resource person also. So if you can share it from your end, that will be easier
Sure,
for me.
sure, sure, sure. I can do that. I can do that. You shared this PPTs with Manjunath sir, is it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Manjunath sir, are you here? All right. I'll just check that for you, sir, and I'll just arrange the PPTs. So I'll just get it from my colleague.
Chandan, PPTs are sent to you. Check.
Okay, okay. All right.
Okay.
So we can see your
Yes,
screen now,
it's
sir.
working.
Amit sir, we can see your screen now.
Yeah, yeah, it was working. So just wait a minute. Wait.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
No, I'm off from this PPT. I don't know how.
Okay, okay. I'll do it
This
for you.
yeah, do it from your
I'll
end.
do it for you. Yes, I think by now you should be able to see that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So my name is Amit Agrahari, and uh, Right. Currently, I am pursuing LAMP fellowship with PRS, a Delhi-based policy think tank, and I have done data journalism for more than 2 years.
For webcam, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Just wait a minute. Hello. Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and visible too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Visible too. Yes.
Yes. So, can you move to like next PPT?
Yeah, sure.
So I think most of the participants are not visible. So I wanted to make it a little more interactive. So I can ask questions, and if people from other end respond, that would be great. So if that is not available, no problem. So there is a quote in God we. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible, sir. We'll
Yeah.
also be having a question and answer session towards the end of the session. But
Okay.
yeah, if we, it's also open to interactive session too. Yeah.
Okay, so there is a very famous quote: "In God we trust. Everyone else must bring data to the table." So this quote is from a famous person from Karnataka itself. So any chat box is open, everyone can type there. Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyone would like to try, who said these famous words? In God we trust, everyone else must bring data to the table. This is a quote from a famous person from Karnataka itself. In fact, your home city. These are words from Mr. N.R. Narayana Murthy, founder of Infosys. And so the I wanted to emphasis on this through N.R. Narayana Murthy. How do these guys, big corporates, make decisions, and what is the importance of data in making those decisions? Suppose NR Narayana Murthy wants to set up a factory in suppose some rural area of Karnataka, and he wants to know whether this factory would be viable, and it will give him a good return or not. So suppose there are 5 to 10 people in his policy team, in his decision making team, and everyone will have an opinion. Someone will say that it will work, it will bring profit to the company, and someone will say that no, it doesn't make sense to have a company in have a branch in rural area. But whom Mr. Murthy will listen? Everyone has an opinion, and everyone is entitled to their opinion, but Mr. Murthy will listen only to people who will bring data to the table. Someone who has done a lot of research, how much resource the company have to spend, and what are the chances that the company can optimize these resources and ultimately earn profit. Anyone who can make a case for uh, setting up a factory or a branch in rural area would be beneficial with data. The Mr. Murthy go with his or her opinion, because he or she is backing their opinion with data. So whenever backed by data, an opinion becomes a fact. Suppose I am saying the economic liberalization since 1991 has helped India in economic growth, in achieving better economic growth. But unless and until I back these statements with data, unless I can show that prior to 1991, India's economic growth was somewhat 3 to 4%, and after 1991, it has been on average 7 to 8%. No one is going to believe me, because without backing that statement with data, it is just another opinion, or just another statement. Okay, can you move to next slide, please? this is the whenever I take a class on data journalism, I uh, try to use this chart to explain how why data journalism is so important. So this is a chart about 70 years of and the price of oil in last 70 years. So as you can see, initially in 1950s the price of oil was somewhat 10 to $20, and then it's in 2012 13 it reached up to $150, and today it is somewhere around 40 dollars per barrel. So the price of oil has varied from 10 to $20, and if someone is enthusiastic about all these things, of a few months ago oil prices hit like minus $40 per barrel, and that was a big news all across the media. If like I have to explain a trend, or what anything I want to explain about oil prices, what I can do, I can prepare some 1,000 words 2,000 words analysis, and long in-depth research paper or whatever. But all those things I can sum up in just one chart through using data journalism. So this chart of 70 years of oil prices tells me almost everything. Uh, 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 in 1991, you will see that India faced balance of payment crisis in 1991, and the reason behind that was there was oil crisis in 1989 to 90 due to Gulf War. And the prices suddenly went up, and due to that India faced a balance of payment crisis, which led to economic liberalization in 1991. I can explain many other factors, like in when Modi government came to power a few years a few months after that, there is lot of discussion, lot of media furor over why the government has kept the oil prices high despite the fall in international prices. So all those factors, all those trends can be explained just by one chart. So that is the importance, and that is how the data journalism can help you in future in future of storytelling. Okay, can you move next chart, next page? So digital is future. As we all know, like media is very small industry, but given the fact, like digital is altogether a new sector in itself. So if you are flexible, you can get jobs in others, and if you are well equipped in data journalism and digital journalism, your horizons will not be limited to media. You can get a job in industries other than media also, if you are well equipped in digital and data journalism. Okay, next page. Yes, like all of us in journalism school learn like what are the major theory of journalism. So earlier it used to be 5W1H. Almost everyone, I think everyone in the media have heard about these things. 5W and 1H: who, what, when, where, why, and how. So these are old methods of journalism. Whenever we used to write a story for newspaper or something, this is the model we were told to follow. But in news journalism, most of these things are not relevant. Like people already know about like what happened through social media. When it happened, that also people know through social media. Where it happened, take the farmers protest. So most of the people know what happened, when happened, and where it happened. But what people don't know, that why okay, next page. So in the news journalism, that is also digital journalism, people would like to know just about why and how, like some event, why the farmers protest happened, and how what was the reason behind the farmer protest, and what was method. So most of the w's have become irrelevant. Just why and how are relevant in the new era of journalism. And I might add one more thing: what next? So the people now like no trend. So just take the downfall of GDP. Now everyone knows that GDP went negative, minus 23 point something percent. But people would like to know, what about the next quarter? What will we trend for next quarter? So that they can plan accordingly, and save some money or earn some money and through that information. So in the new era of journalism, these three factors are important, and rest of the things people already know: why, how, and what next. And how can you tell that what is going to happen next? That you can tell only through, if you have like history of those things. If you know like what were the trends in economy in last like 10 to 12 quarters, and what were the factors responsible for negative economic growth, and what is going to, and then you can predict or somewhat try to predict what will happen in next 1 or 2 quarter. Okay, next slide please. So now coming back to core, what is data journalism? Any story when the content producer uses table, graphs, charts, infographics, or any other form of data visualization. So whenever you see a graph or chart or some infographic that is used to tell the story, then that can be called data journalism. So, where in our like media industry, where most of the people use data journalism. Data journalism is nowadays that earlier data journalism was used in very specific sectors like psephology. Those of, yeah, you are interested in elections must have heard of psephology. So the psephology is used to predict election results, and what will be the trend in elections. So, if you are following the US presidential election, most of you will know that every day the lead changes. Someday Donald Trump is 5 or 6 points ahead of Joe Biden, and someday Biden. So the trend keeps changing, but what is important that how those trends are predicted, like how those guys predict that Donald Trump is leading or Joe Biden is leading. So for that, the method is psephology, and they use data from people, like responses from the different voters of different constituencies, and they devise like categorize people in different sections, and they ensure that every community is represented in that data. So through these they predict election results. That might not be true every time, like the what pollsters predict might not be every time, but most of the times they get somewhat accurate results through psephology. And what are others fields where data journalism? So the data journalism is now being used everywhere, like to predict economic growth, and in many other fields. Okay, next slide please. This is actually the data of the graph of Sensex of last 6 months. So when the government imposed lockdown, the Sensex suddenly went for a drive, and it was somewhat 50 to 25, or between 25 and 26,000 as low. But at that time, many people predicted that people, even now, people believe in India's growth story, and they will continue to invest in, uh, in India. That somehow sounded counterintuitive, because economy that is going for a lockdown of a month. Actually, at that time, the initial lockdown was perhaps of 21 days. The economy that is going for a lockdown of complete lockdown down of 21 days. So economy was expected to collapse, which it did. Like GDP went through a negative growth of 23%. But say, the stock markets still like rose from at that time they touched somewhat 25,000, but they again the today I think the Sensex mark was somewhat 38,000. So and despite the negative growth, Sensex is actually going up. So how someone can predict these trends? That someone who can analyze like what are the economic conditions around the world, and what are macroeconomic figures, trends in India, can actually predict that whether stock market is will appreciate despite the negative economic growth, or it will go for a negative growth. So data stories give consumers better understanding of the topic, and take very little time compared to like long text of newspapers, or long hours you spend seeing television. You can better understanding of the same topic reading a data story, then you will get in half an hour of reading in newspaper, or half an hour of watching television. So the data journalism saves your time, it saves your space, uh, gives you a better understanding of the topic. Okay, next slide please. So why digital journalists have an advantage in data journalism? Can you click on that links which I have embedded, the live mint link? Hello. Yeah, just open it in different tab. Hello. Hello.
Chandan, please copy that link and paste it in web.
Oh, yes. Just a second. Okay.
Chandan, copy that link and paste it in URL and share that
Yeah.
website.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Go little down, side. Scroll, scroll down. Yes, further. So, just click on any story. Click on any story. India's crackdown on India. Just click on this story. Yes, scroll down. Yes, further down. Further down. until a graphic appears. Yes. Just hold here. So if you click on any of those stories, uh, when whenever he is clicking on some any chart, it is telling you the exact figure. Whenever suppose you are publishing this story in print medium or any other medium, so in those mediums you can't make these stories interactive, like when in print medium, when you click on that chart or any other thing, you can't make those stories interactive. Uh, uh, if you click on any of the charts, obviously in print medium you can just type the figure over the chart, but you can't make those interactive. In print mediums, you can make any of the charts interactive. So when you click on that graph, the number appears. Go further down. Yes. Just click on any state. Any state. When you click on that particular state, it tells you the respect data for that particular state. So one of the advantage of using data journalism in digital is that you can make the stories interactive. Unlike the print and television medium, in the digital medium you can make stories interactive, and you can further update the stories, like uh, whenever you require to the add some changes in your data tables, you can actually update your storage. See how much interactive these graphs are. Whenever you click on some pie, the data for that pie appears and the rest becomes invisible. So these advantages you can't have in print or television. Okay, uh, that's it. Just go back to PPTs. I just wanted to show so that digital journalism can data journalism can be very interactive in digital medium. So yeah, the same things are written. Now whenever the government have to the latest example which can we can use is how the government interacts to larger people in regards to corona. So click on that uh, tweet. Yes, just open it. So the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare uses graphs and charts to tell people about latest trends in corona. So if any of you have followed the story since last 8 or 10 days, the numbers of total number of cases are declining because the recovery rate is slightly better than the new cases. Go further down. Yes. Look how the government interacts with people. And the best way to so that the number of percentage of active cases are continuously declining. So the government just can just in plain text say that the number of cases are declining, but that will not give you a clear picture of how much the cases uh, uh, are declining and what is the latest number. But in this graph you can see that the number of cases are continuously percentage of active cases are continuously declining since last 10 to 12 days. Go further down. Scroll. Yes. This is the gap between recovered and active cases. The gap is continuously increasing. That means the new every with every passing date the recoveries are better than the new cases. Go further down. This is the number of active patients below 10 lakh. So the government is trying to tell that number of active cases have come below 10 lakh. So now the government can easily write only plain text instead of just go back to PPT. I wanted to show people. And the government could have used plain text to tell these things, that the number of active cases are declining and number total active cases are below 10 lakh, but that would not have make an impact, neither that would have given you a clear picture of how many new cases are coming every day and how the cases are declining. But with the help of one graph or one data story, the government can very easily communicate uh, to everyone within a second. Once you see that graph, you can easily tell that the cases are declining since last 10 years. So government can easily communicate all those things to you through data storage, and that is the reason data storage are increasingly being used through by the government as well as the private organization to communicate stories or communicate any message. And what is the essential thing about any media students? That is to communicate easily, and stories help you to communicate to larger audience very easily. Okay, next story. What are the columns that you can refer? There are many very good columns or websites which regularly publish data stories, but plain facts in live mint is a business daily, and they publish a column called plain facts on daily basis. You can refer to their stories for data to learn data journalism. And the second is stats guru in business standard, that is also published daily on some policy topic, on some or some relevant topic. They publish stats guru every day. So earlier it was weekly, perhaps on Thursday, but now they publish it daily. So these are the two columns which you can regularly refer to the see good data stories. And apart from business newspapers, very frequently use data stories because they have to explain more complex things, and more complex things can be easily communicated through data stories rather than text. So business newspapers use more of data storage, but normal newspapers like normal dailies like Hindustan Times, Times of India, Express, they also publish a good number. For example, in Indian Express there is a guy named Harish Damodran. He regularly publishes stories on farm sector, data stories on farm sector. So you can refer to those stories for data. Okay, next slide, please. What are the tools? What are the tools that these guys use to draw these graphs and charts? So the easiest way to draw these graphs and charts is Excel. Any office tool, like you can also use Word, but that depends what kind of data storage you want to publish. The Excel or Google spreadsheet also works fine to make graphs and charts or other visual stories, but the uh, two websites or two applications that newspapers or professionals use are Data Wrapper and Infogram. uh, uh, you don't need to purchase a paid version, because paid version is first of all it is costly and it is not required for someone in learning stage. You can also note down the names. Data Wrapper and Infogram are the two applications that uh, the professionals use to draw these graphs, charts, and interactive stories. Uh, And there is also a journalist named Fazil Khan. He regularly publishes data stories in News 18. You can also refer to these. Okay, next slide, please. So, in conclusion, I would like to say, as a private university, one of the major aims of the university is to get you guys placed, get the students placed. And where are the new jobs? The new jobs are primarily in digital sector. If you keep yourself regularly updated about new jobs, you will see that there are very few or negligible jobs in print medium or digital medium. In fact, if you look at the trends of United States or other developed countries, the print is actually declining. In India, it is not declining yet; it is still growing, but the new jobs are very little. So uh, uh, clearly, you don't have any future in print if you want jobs. And there are few jobs in television sector, and people are increasingly watching news or content on their mobile phones. So the new jobs are only in digital sector, so it is better that you prepare your students in digital sector, in digital journalism. Only then they can get job in media, or and if they are prepared in like digital journalism, they can also get jobs in other non-media sectors as well, because uh, in the modern world, flexibility is key. If you learn some basic core concept, and you are willing to adapt, then any industry will pick you up. Okay, and a student trained in data journalism, someone who can predict the trends, someone who can get deeper into the storage, would easily get a job in any sector. So if you want your student to be employable, then you need to train them data journalism and digital journalism. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much. And the session is now open for questions.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi.
My name is Shraddha.
Yes, hi Shraddha.
Sir, in the COVID case, there was a lot of data posted by different channels, and later on there were a lot of cases that was not included in the data. Like there were not all the cases were registered. So when
Yes,
there is such kind of data wherein you don't know which exactly to choose from, how exactly can we come to a conclusion or an analysis when the data itself is a little inappropriate?
yes. The availability of data is a major issue, and it has been a major issue since last many years. In the last few years, like the private organizations. So see, any government is always reluctant to share data, be it a state government, be it central government, be it municipal government. They are very reluctant to share actual numbers and actual data. But the uh, to get a clear picture, you must have a like accurate data. So
Yes, sir. So it might even mislead the audience and the people when we rely on such data. If they are not accurate, then it can mislead everybody, right? So, what to do in such a situation?
so in such a situation, take the economy. So in if you have heard of, there are something period called periodic labor force survey. So according to that data, the unemployment in India was at 45-year high, but the government choose not to share that data in public domain. Government was supposed to release that data, but it choose not to release that data in public domain.
Okay.
Later, a journalist named Somesh Jha from Business Standard broke that story. So he got copy of that labor force survey from some source, as journalists call them, and some source, and he revealed that story, and it later became a big issue. Like the unemployment is at 45-year high, and the government was trying to hide that,
Okay.
hide that fact. See, if the government does not want to share the data in the public domain, later it will be caught, and when caught they will be exposed, and that goes with any organization also.
Right.
Data availability is a big issue, but instead of like instead of not not going with data journalism, it is better to ask the government to be accountable and share the data with in public domain.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
My name is Vidisha.
Yes.
Sir, I
Hi,
just wanted
sir.
to know if you are aware of, or if you could give us some suggestions on some short-term courses or certificate courses to kind of pursue data journalism, say for a short while, maybe a 6 monthly course, or maybe if there is any organization that could offer these courses for professionals, I mean teaching professionals, just to get a hands-on experience of
Uh,
data
uh,
journalism.
so, uh, well, if you have heard of these MIT Open Courseware, and most of the American edutech companies offer courses in data journalism. But like if you are beginning, if you are just a beginner, just do one thing, like you want to write a story. Suppose just tell me any subject on which you want to write a story.
Maybe something associated with the COVID-19 impact,
Yes.
something relevant to this situation.
Yes. So suppose you want to write a story on COVID. So rather than employing just text and like writing down the text and explaining that, do one thing. Take the data and go to Excel sheet and try to draw a graph, or go to the two tools I have told: data wrapper and infogram. Just to go to any of these websites and try to draw a graph, a good graph, and try to tell a story. Okay. So if once you become fluent in using infogram and data wrapper, or the Excel charts. Excel has actually the latest Excel has very advanced functions through which you can draw good graphs, and data visualization can be done very efficiently. So first use those tools, and then if you want to learn advanced version, then most of the, like many American universities like offer courses in data journalism. There are different, like University of Pennsylvania also have something, I don't remember the name. They have a, a particular app for open education, and they also offer courses in data journalism. And the best is just go to MIT Open Courseware. If you want to learn an advanced version, go to MIT Open Courseware. They have very good courses.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Any more questions? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Hi.
I am Ravinandan speaking. I am assistant professor at Acharya College.
Yes.
I
Hello.
had three. I had three questions, sir.
Yes.
One is that apart from the print medium that you
Yes.
mentioned, who regularly produce these data stories might be the Hindu or Business Line or even Mint and some
Yes.
others,
Yes.
I would want to know, are there some dedicated organizations like India Spend,
Yes.
and
Yes.
one more is How India Lives?
Yes.
Are there any other organizations who are dedicated exclusively producing data stories and even outsourcing it to the mainstream organizations?
Nowadays many startups are coming. So what these guys, How India Lives, or some other, there is also one uh, started by some guy from the Hindu. So it is specifically dedicated to the data story. So many new organizations are coming up, and they are particularly dedicated to data stories. And basically, see. Uh, a new organization would not be that much effective. uh, but if suppose today I am writing purely print stories, like just text and text and text,
Okay.
but from tomorrow I start using graphs and charts in my stories. That would be more effective for audience, rather than uh, many new because the existing people, like existing journalists, know the techniques and methods of storytelling. They just need to be trained in data journalism. So that would be more effective rather than many new people coming in.
Okay.
And apart from that, I think you already mentioned most of the organizations that are doing good in data journalism, How India Lives and these
Sir,
guys.
however, I'm sure that you will also certainly agree with me when I say that when you see the West and particularly Europe, there have been
Yeah.
several big tickets organizations which have brought out some wonderful stories. Say, for example, regarding the Eurozone meltdown and how it affected individual families, or in 2017, something called Where Does My Money Go? Tracking the public funds utilization in UK, and definitely WikiLeaks mapping of Afghanistan war and all those things. My question is, even when we come to the South Asian countries, there are several countries, including Brazil, they have brought out
Yes.
very good stories when compared to India. What do you think? Why exactly are we lacking in India in data journalism when we have, at a time, more number of software engineers, more number of data analysts, and all those technical know-how? But why do you think we still are lagging behind?
See, the first reason is consumer base is still low, and the contrary to what you said, there are many other organizations which are like Center. Have you heard of Center for Policy Research? So
Yes, sir. Yeah.
yeah, so the uh, they have some website called My Money. I don't exactly remember the name, Rupea or something. Yeah, perhaps
Okay.
that is named as Rupea. So what they do is they track from, like, yeah, when the government allocates some budget for some ministry or some scheme, that money goes to Consolidated Fund of India. Okay.
Okay.
From Consolidated Fund of India, uh, the to when it reaches the last person, last resource person. So
Yeah.
at least there are 10 to 12 steps. Actually, that varies. Sometimes the money directly reaches to consumer, but in most of the cases there are 10 to 12 steps through which the money reaches to end user. So they actually track the money, and where it, like, on which notes it is being wasted. So the Center for Policy Research is, in that sense, Center for Policy Research is also doing data journalism. And then there are many other think tanks. For example, I am right now fellow with PRS Legislative Research. So it publishes wonderful uh, uh, this state budget reports.
Okay.
For example, you want to look about how Karnataka state budget is doing, and what is the physical deficit of Karnataka, and how much money Karnataka has allocated to agriculture and other sectors. Just search for Karnataka budget PRS, and they publish wonderful stories. Their stories have text also, but mostly they try to use tables and charts and graphics to tell how much Karnataka is spending on education, how much it is spending on health, agriculture, and what is the comparison of Karnataka with other states. Like suppose Tamil Nadu is spending perhaps Tamil Nadu spends 17 to 18% on of its GDP on uh, 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 17 to 18% of its total budget on education. So the Karnataka might be spending 15 or 16%, or Karnataka might be spending a little more than that. So you can actually compare the allocation of other states to your state using their graphs and charts. So there are many other organizations which are doing great work. See, the major problem is consuming consumer base. So if you are willing to spend money, suppose take the Wall Street Journal or New York Times. So these organizations are based on they get their revenue from subscriber base. So, so the problem in India is that no one is willing to spend money to read or get better stories. So unless media organizations, so data storage need, particularly if you are trying to tell a good data story, it needs money, like a resource person, as well as if you are using advanced version, then infogram and data wrapper will ask for money. So good data storage, to produce good data storage, you need money. And in India, the major problem is funding. No one is willing to spend money on on journalism. So unless and until you donate, suppose you are reading to some suppose you are reading to the print and you are not giving donation to them, given the fact uh, uh, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking
Yeah, yeah.
in general. So the
Sure, sure.
advertisement money is very little. So if no one is giving money donations to them, how they are supposed to pay to their how they are supposed to pay to their resource persons, or how they are supposed to pay for infogram or data wrapper. So the problem is money. Problem is
Yeah.
uh, people are not willing to spend on good storage.
Okay. Sir, one last question, sir, from my
Yes.
side.
Yes.
So, if for someone who is looking for research in data journalism in India, from the research point of view, what do
Yes.
you suggest one should look for? I'm asking this because you are the person who have worked in this field for some time. So you would certainly have some come through some issues which are fit for research in this field. So could you please point out one or two?
Research as in to produce stories.
No, sir. In the data journalism in India, the status of data journalism in India, or what are the problems related to data journalism in India? If somebody has to do research on it, because there are several researches that has been done in other countries, but we find very little of the research which has been gone into finding out what are the problems in data journalism in India.
So as far as I can tell you, from my point of view, the major problem is that people are not willing to spend money to read good stories. So financing is a major problem. I know many people, and the second major issue is obviously the second major issue is from academia, which you people can address, like people in academia. So the students are not being trained well, like just go to any random for example, in my college is supposed to be best college of the country in data journalism, IIMC, but in in 9 months course we just had 2 or 3 classes on data journalism. that too for of 1.5 hours. So if in a 9 months course I am just getting 7.5 hour from for data journalism to learn data journalism, and that too not with resources and equipment. How someone is supposed to learn these things? So I learned mostly I learned independently, because this is very interesting field. Once you start telling data stories, you just feel that this is the best way to tell stories. So most of the people are coming independently. There is no like nothing data. The education in data journalism is not very institutionalized.
Yeah.
So the news until and unless suppose tell your students uh, how to do editing, or how to do reporting, just like that you need to tell them that how to produce data stories, how to produce store how to use data to like better enhance your storytelling techniques. So one part is academia. Unless and until courses like these are very important to, where the professionals from the field share their experiences and with academia. So one of the major problems in India is that academia and industry interaction is very little. So once that issue is addressed, I think data journalism will also be addressed together with that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
So
You,
there's one question from Mukesh Kumar.
yes.
He's asking that how do we engage our students with data journalism activities in our classrooms? What can we do to make sure that they get a better exposure?
So as I already told, so whenever you are telling us students to write a story, or suppose you are telling students to write something on elections. Suppose you are telling something to your students to write something on Bihar elections, so which are to be scheduled in a month. Just tell them to draw a chart or graph on the basis of the number of seats every party got, or the number of percentage of vote every party got, or the in which constituency how many candidates were there, how many candidates lost deposit. Just tell them to draw graph or chart of all those things, and that can be easily done through Excel, or I mean you can also use the free version of Infogram and Data Wrapper. No, but you can also draw those charts and graphs through Excel, or any other software like Word. Also, you can also draw tables on Word. Hello.
Yes, sir, we just had a small disturbance because someone happened to unmute their microphone. Please continue, sir.
Okay, so yeah, you can use these tools to tell to train students in data journalism, and if they want to learn advanced version, they will purchase, I think, advanced version of Data Wrapper, or those things. And if you want to go further, you can tell the students to do a course on Udemy, or Coursera, or MIT OpenCourseWare. These are all edutech companies which offer very good courses in data journalism. But the basic is Excel. Always remember, the basic is Excel. Unless you train your students to draw graphs, charts, and interactive stories on Excel, all the all those things, Udemy and all those courses are irrelevant. Unless you train your students in drawing charts on Excel, all that is irrelevant. Hello. Hello.
Do we have any more questions?
Hello, sir. I'm Monisha.
Yes, hi,
Uh,
Monisha.
can you please brief the process used in data journalism? I mean, how do you get the story out of data?
So there are two ways. One is you just get raw data from anywhere. Suppose you get raw data on uh, COVID from somewhere, and you then draw charts on number of active cases and how many people died, or and the state-wise number of cases, the city-wise. Suppose see. Uh, Whenever we generalize, we get skewed results. So if you are getting if you are uh, suppose you got data about Maharashtra, that there are x number of cases in Maharashtra, but unless and until you go deep into data, and if you go deep into data, you will find most of the cases are limited to Pune and Mumbai area. So through data journalism, you can tell the viewer that most of the cases are not evenly distributed across the state, but they are limited to two or three cities: Mumbai, Pune, and Nasik. Two or three cities. So first you get raw data, then you go to Excel, and there are then you and for example, if you go to infogram and data wrapper, you just have to enter the data for a particular city or particular state, and they draw the graph. But you can also do it on Excel. Just go to Excel and enter the particular data in cells, and then go to draw the graph section, and there you can draw the graph. This is the basic process of drawing a graph or chart, and through that graph or chart you can tell the story.
And also, sir, how can we access the facts and distinguish between information and misinformation? Like, a few media organizations come up with different figures for the same story. So, how can that be tackled?
See, work for a independent think tank, but what they tell us is all see, journalists look for different stories. The problem with journalism is that everyone wants to tell their version of truth. They also get data accordingly, according to their version of truth. But unless and until you have data from the ground, suppose you have done some survey or something by yourself, then you can use that data. But unless you have your own data, just go with government figures. That is the safest way. uh, and if you are reading a story, suppose from any media organization, Times of India, yeah, the print, or any media organization, just look at the source they have used for data. The source of data is very important, and unless and until you have first hand data, just trust on government sources. We don't have any alternative, and contrary to popular perception, either the government doesn't release it data at all, or it releases accurate data most of the time. So all those claims that government misleads people, all those on to a large extent are not true. So, as I told in my earlier answer, uh, most of the time, if the government doesn't have a suitable data, it doesn't release data at all. As in the case of PLFS survey, they didn't release the data. But once if the government releases data, most of the times it is true. So go with government figures. I will suggest that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
We can have one last question.
Sir, I want to ask a question. My name is Nushi, and I am also a media educator and assistant professor. I just wanted to ask this question that I think from as long as I remember reading news reports, I've always seen that, always some kind of data, some kind of statistics have always been involved, some kind of infographic through which it sustains, the story or supports the story. But
Yes.
suddenly, in this like this year, and I think in the last few years, this concept of data journalism suddenly has become a very big, priority. I don't know, like even our school is actually trying to teach data journalism, and it has suddenly taken a very forefront, which is quite surprising. Although this data and statistics has always been a part of a news story. So I would like
Yes.
to know, sir, what has changed? Why suddenly so much emphasis on data journalism, which I am surprised with, because it has always accompanied any news story in the last decades, if we see.
So see, all the important thing is how frequently a thing is being used. So earlier, most of the stories were being supported by some data, some figures from the government, but they constituted a very small part of that story, right? So
Yes.
mostly one or two line about the so this is x and y are the data about this topic, but most of the things were text. So uh, uh, what text mean? Text is just interpretation of the writer of the writer for that data. So suppose I get figures of higher education from your university, and then I want to explain this is the meaning of that data, and these are the conclusions I draw from that data. But today, see, with the in the digital era, everyone is uh, uh, competent enough to draw their own conclusion, right? So if I have information and data on a few things, then I can draw my own conclusion. And in today's world, no one likes to likes to hear about someone other's opinion, and that is also uh, uh, right. I don't blame anyone for that. What we want to do is we want to get data, and from where we can draw our own conclusions. So
Right, sir.
what data stories do is they give you data. So suppose take the active COVID cases. I just give you data for last 10 days, and you can draw your own conclusion that on 9 and 10 COVID cases were more, and on 10 and 11 the active cases were more than recoveries. You can draw or your own conclusion. Everyone is very smart nowadays.
Yes.
Everyone is the good thing is everyone is very smart, so you don't need to give your conclusion to them, and they don't like this, which is fine. They don't like that you are giving your own conclusions about that data. uh, so the first thing about the first reason behind surge in data journalism is the rise of digital media. In digital media,
Okay.
as I already told, that you can draw like very interactive stories, uh, uh,
Yes.
very interactive stories. So the first reason is obviously the rise of digital media, because digital media and data journalism go together. Uh, the, the
Right.
the print medium or the television medium will never be as efficient as digital medium to tell data story.
Hmm.
So the first reason is the rise of digital journalism, and the second reason is nowadays everyone has basic information. As I told that the old rules of journalism 5W 1H is
Hmm.
no longer relevant. Now the people want to know how, and they are most interested in what next.
Hmm.
So you can tell those things, convey those things through data stories. And the third thing is obviously no one uh, uh, wants to read your conclusions or my conclusions or anyone's conclusions. Everyone wants to draw their own conclusion. So what they want is just supply them data, they will draw your own conclusion, their own conclusion. Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
That answers my question. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Sir, shall I ask you one question? I have
Yes,
already
yes.
posted it there in the chat box. So how do we actually strike a balance between the
Yes, actually,
figure?
I don't know how to access the chat box. So conversations.
Okay, sir, I shall ask it.
Yeah, you go ahead. Actually,
Okay.
I used to use Zoom, so I'm not very much friendly with Microsoft. So yeah, I got the access. Meslo Thomas, how do we strike a balance? Yeah, go ahead, ask. Go ahead and ask.
Yeah, no, exactly that question. How do we strike a balance between figure and words? Because are we elaborating on what is already there in the figure, or are we focusing more on the maybe a few aspects of the very figure?
See, the basic thing is that depends on the storyteller. If you feel that something is so complex that the user will not be, the consumer will not be able to understand that thing, so you can write words and explain those things, and anywhere where you feel that explanation is necessary, there you can write words, but keep it to minimum, because as I already told that no one is interested, and the golden rule is avoid conclusions. Explain the things like suppose you are using some complex, suppose you are using logarithmic method. If someone is from engineering or mathematics background, they will know what is log scale or log graph. So if you are drawing some complex graph or some complex chart, then explain that thing, but uh, the golden rule is avoid conclusions, because no one is interested in your or mine conclusions. They want to draw their own conclusions. So just explain the data. If you feel that people will not be able to understand these graphs and charts without explaining these things, just explain the data and try to keep the words minimum, and the rest your data will itself tell the whole story.
All right. Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, we have come to the end of today's session. Sir, that was a very informative talk. We would like to thank Amit Agrahari for spending his precious time with all of us in this virtual platform. His talk on dissemination of information in digital era has emphasized the importance of data journalism in this digital era. He has also provided us with practical knowledge and resourceful tools acquired from his professional experience. I am sure that all of you have found this FTP session knowledgeable and loved listening to Mr. Amit. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you so much. I would love to hear about your feedback, so I can improve in my other lectures.
Definitely, sir. Most
Yes,
of the feedback is also addressed directly to you at the chat section. And if you get anything else, we'll definitely forward it to you.
yes. Okay, thank you. I would have access to this meeting chat session for a little while, so I can see the responses and feedbacks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can access it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
would also
sir.
like to thank all the attendees for spending your time in attending the 5th day of our faculty development program. The attendees, please note that it is mandatory for you to fill in the feedback form to get your e-certificates. You may access the link of the feedback form in the chat window section, and we have also posted the same in the WhatsApp group as well. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So could you put once again the link, sir, feedback link? Hello?
Ma'am, you can see the feedback link in the chat box.
Yes, sir. Just now I checked, sir. I couldn't find. That's why I'm asking, sir.
At least 4 times we have put, ma'am.
Okay, once again.
I will put it now.
Okay.
I will put it now.
I'll put
Once
it
again,
again.
Yeah.
I'll put it
Yes,
again. I've
yes.
posted it. Just now I posted it.
Yeah, see, ma'am. Check now. It's updated now.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. It's there.
Thank you, ma'am.